what you just saw were the last remains of our first sheep, Raul. Raul died well over 2 years ago, and he is perhaps the biggest symbol of our inexperience as farmers. We moved to Costa Rica almost 3 years ago with absolutely no experience, no prior knowledge on the ways of living with the land. And so here we are just figuring it out as we go. When we first got here, we acquired sheep much too early, before our pastures were ready, before we were ready. And every time we tried to let them out on pasture, they would just escape and roam all throughout the neighborhood. So instead of keeping them cooped up in a pen all day, every day, we decided that we would tether them and have them have access to our pastures. And in Costa Rica, almost all pastures are mountainsides, so ours are no different. We had him tethered in too risky of a slope, and he must have slipped and he strangled himself. So yeah, at first I was riddled with shame. I wanted to bury the body and not have anyone know. But we got over that and decided to call our trusty neighbors, who came over right away, and they helped us and taught us how to butcher an animal and how to process that sheep. So it turned a really sad, dark, shameful experience into a positive learning experience and a bonding experience with our neighbors. And we shared the meat with them, and we all were nourished by his untimely death.
Fast forward to this week, and Pepe's mom shows up, and on day one discovers those last little bits in a freezer bag in her freezer, and she was appalled.
Okay, I don't appreciate finding parts of anything in my freezer that I've looked in the eye, I've seen them alive, I've petted them. They have no business being in my freezer. Bleh.
She wanted them out.
Yeah, they had to be gone immediately. So we thawed them out with every intention of eating them ourselves, but there's a lot going on and we just didn't get around to it. We waited too long, and so we ended up feeding them to the chickens. But it's an example of how we operate here. Nothing goes to waste. There is always somebody in the food chain willing to eat anything. If it's not us, it's the dogs. If it's not the dogs, it's the chickens. If it's not the chickens, it's the worms. So this is a part of my weekly or bi-weekly routine. I am currently taking a walk through my neighborhood to the end of the street where my favorite coffee farmer lives. So we live down in the southern zone of Costa Rica. Yeah, it's a very small community, and this whole area is a big coffee growing region. And it just so happens that my favorite coffee that I've tried in Costa Rica is grown right here by a farmer named Martin. And he's a very humble guy, and he's a small grower. Yeah, his whole operation is very low profile, unassuming, low glam. It's not really the kind of coffee that you would find at the airport or in souvenir shops, but it is popular in this area. And in my opinion, it is some of the best coffee, not only that I've had in Costa Rica, but just some of the best coffee I've ever had. So I feel really lucky. We didn't move here knowing that the best coffee in Costa Rica was grown in this neighborhood, but it is. Right here behind me is actually some of the best views in the whole neighborhood. Glad I didn't walk right past that. It's a really beautiful place here in the southern zone of Costa Rica. We are so south that you really can't go any further south because pretty soon you reach the border at Panama. So yeah, that's where we are. So I'm now approaching Martin's house, and I'm gonna show it to you, but then I'm gonna ask him if it's cool for me to film this interaction and check out his farm, because I don't usually approach with a camera. This is a new thing, but here we are. This is Martin's guard chihuahua. One of the most fierce and dreaded and terrible creatures in this neighborhood. And this is Martin's house. I already asked him, by the way, and he said that yes, we could do this. And this is their little coffee stand right outside. This is where you can just honor system walk up and take a packet of coffee or two. And that over there is the roasting facility, and all these plants around here are the coffee plants. And this is where he keeps his bees. A lot of people in this neighborhood keep bees. Pepe and I don't yet, but we definitely want to. So yeah, this is a coffee farm. A typical Costa Rican coffee farm setup. Rows and rows of coffee plants.
Muy buenos días, nos encontramos aquí en la tostadora El Ceibo de San Vito. Mostrarle lo que es la plantación de café, y aquí es donde sacamos el grano de oro para sacar nuestra marca de café con un proceso de chancado, secado al sol. Damos un sabor muy original a nuestro producto.
Muchas gracias, sí, estoy de acuerdo, es muy original.
Okay. Luego de dar el proceso de chancado, secado al sol y pelado, lo pasamos aquí a esta de la planta, donde le damos el tostado con una máquina que se trabaja con leña para dar un tueste o un proceso artesanal a nuestro producto. Después de tostado a la leña, se pasa aquí al área de molino, donde lo pasamos. Aquí tenemos nuestro producto ya.
It smells so good.
Tostado con el punto medio, que es el que nosotros trabajamos normalmente. Luego lo pasamos al molino, que es donde le damos el molido o el afinado, también necesario para tener una buena taza.
Qué rico.
Luego del molino lo pasamos aquí al área de empaque.
Okay. So everything is done right here.
Donde aquí el llenado del proceso es igual, manual, para que sea artesanal y proceso.
Usually when I come buy my coffee, he scoops it into the bag right in front of me.
Luego, de pesado, le damos aquí se sella con esta máquina. Okay. Después de sellado, se empaca también manual y se lleva ya al área de.
And then this is what goes to the local stores.
Okay.
Qué bueno. Muchas gracias por mostrarme.
No, con mucho gusto, y espero que les guste el video y pues que prefieran nuestro producto, que es artesanal y muy delicioso. Gracias.
¿Es posible comprar un paquete con en grano y el resto molido?
¿Está bien?
Ok.
Claro que sí.
Bueno. So that was really cool. I didn't know if I was gonna film the journey to get coffee, and I didn't know if Martin was gonna be down to do a little tour and interview, but it never hurts to ask. And Costa Ricans are not known to be planners, so it wouldn't have really made sense for me to ask ahead of time. So yeah, but I really wanted to show you where the best coffee in Costa Rica comes from and where I buy my coffee. It's It's a really important part of every day for me. I typically only drink 1 cup. I make 1 strong cup in the morning, but sometimes I drink 2. I'm like a really high energy and anxiety prone person. So sometimes drinking the 2nd cup doesn't do good things for me. 1st cup is always amazing, but you know, sometimes rules are meant to be broken. Sometimes I do have a 2nd cup, and sometimes it's fine. And it's a Monday, and I'm gonna have a 2nd cup today. And I think it's gonna be great. It's the thing, when I go buy coffee, it's so fresh that it's part of my ritual and tradition to make a cup immediately when I get home. So yeah, the one thing that I do though, you know, I'm all about having like rituals and routine and just little rules of thumb to keep me in check. And so when I do make a 2nd cup, I make it a little bit harder for myself by hand grinding the whole bean coffee for that cup. So I really have to think about it and decide if I really have time for that. And if I do have that 2nd cup, I make it a whole mindfulness ritual of grinding the beans and using the AeroPress to make a single dank ass fresh cup of coffee. So that's what I'm gonna do when I get home. Also thought I would stop and just show you the action at this house. You see those? Those are ducks laying in the yard. And there is a huge German Shepherd back there. Very scary animal who, for all we know, could be Lola's father. I don't know, but he is at least 3 times as big as Lola and 10 times as scary. It's an unfortunate thing in Costa Rica. A lot of people use dogs as basically alarm systems and just keep them chained to trees and don't train them or give them any love or attention, and they just turn into giant monsters, essentially. So that's what that was, a giant chained tree monster. So here I am making that 2nd cup of coffee, and I don't know if you can tell, but all the coffee beans didn't fit in this jar, which means that I had to make the 2nd cup of coffee, actually. So I'm just scooping it into my grinder here. Perfect, now I can put the lid on. It's essential to make this 2nd cup. All those beans fit perfectly now. So satisfying. So as you saw, this cup of coffee has a lot of love in it. A lot of love has been put into this coffee from the moment that it was planted, the process of it growing, the process of it being processed, and then the process that I just put it through. Lots of heart energy into this cup, and I am definitely going to savor and enjoy it. It really is perfect. It's a very balanced flavor. It's not super bitter, but it's also not super light. Like, it has a rich flavor. It has body, and I just really couldn't imagine a more perfect flavor. You know, this coffee has not been shipped anywhere. So not only was it just grown and roasted, but it hasn't been shipped anywhere. Coffee that we drink in the States has always at least been sitting around in a bag for a couple of weeks. So It doesn't get any better than this. I've been called outside. Apparently something very interesting is happening out here. Let's see what it is. What do you have here?
I think this is like a newly hatched gecko or lizard
Oh my god.
that I just found cleaning up that little garden
It's so
over there.
tiny. Oh my
See
god.
eggs on my hand, eggshell. There's like a little bit of blood right there, but I think that's just like, I don't think it's from his body. I think it's from the hatching.
There are geckos all over the place here, so yeah, it's probably a little baby gecko.
See that egg fragment?
Huh?
See the egg fragment?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh!
It just ran off of his hand. Where did that come from?
The garden, it was just like in the dirt. I was grabbing and I see this little thing like wriggling around.
What do we do?
Just take it somewhere safe.
Okay, okay. Whew. Get that baby back to the soil. Oh, its leg is still like inside of the egg.
I'm
Wow.
gonna show my friends.
I want to go. I want to see the reaction. Pepe's mom has great reactions to things, especially if they're cute. But I don't know how she's actually going to react to this one because she actually doesn't like geckos. I guess we'll see.
Oh my God. What's coming out of his butt?
I think that's part of the egg that his foot is still coming out of.
Oh my God. How the hell did you see that? Oh. How the hell did you see that? Where did you find him?
Pepe was digging in the soil and it just kind of like came up in a handful of soil.
That is wild.
His eyes are still even closed.
Sometimes we find gecko eggs like in our stuff, like they are like Tic Tacs, they're hard. And
Weird.
I mean, I know I'm not supposed to say that, but
give me
okay
your
with the
honest
dying.
top 3 adjectives to describe that creature.
Disgusting, worthless, creepy.
Oh man, brutal.
Well, that's how I feel about him.
I told you she doesn't like geckos, and it's true, she doesn't.
They're worthless. I hate them, and they should all die.
Everybody has their things.
That's right.
But at least she's honest. Thank you for your honesty.
You're welcome. Always.
We're discussing where to plant these cacti. It doesn't seem like it should be such a big issue, but we're having a hard time deciding. We planted little baby aloes here. This is kind of like the back behind area of Pepe's parents' house, the Defini Palace. And we just did some landscaping here this weekend, planted some beautiful flowering plants and some foliage plants. Love this purple one. It's called estrobe. What is it called? Something like estrobe because it's like strobe lights, like it's so fluorescent. So yeah, now we're trying to decide where to plant these things. These are just pieces of a cactus that I brought home from the neighborhood, and you can just stick them in the ground and they grow into whole entire plants, and they actually grow to be huge, which is the thing. There were these really cool plants that have a woody trunk like a tree, so it's like half tree, half cactus, and they get huge. And so the thing about planting them here is eventually they are going to get really tall and might push up under this part of the roof, but I think we're just going to do it anyway and worry about that when the time comes.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Meanwhile, in the front yard, Berto, our local farmhand, is working on the new aviary where Fiddle and Lupe are going to live. It's a major upgrade for them. So let's check out what's going on. It's mainly for Fiddle, but we're hoping that Lupe can also get it together and be nice enough to live in there. But if not, she's pretty content and satisfied with the territory that she already has for dominion. She kind of owns the whole house, really, so she doesn't really need the space, but we shall see. Lupe, do you want to live in the aviary? You gonna be nice to Fiddle and coexist with him in there? If not, then you don't get to live in there. But at least you have this space. But you can have more space. It's totally up to you. And then if you and Fiddle become friends, then Fiddle can hang out up here with you, and you won't have to be alone so much. You'll have a friend besides me. And it won't be completely 100% up to me to hang out with you. How does that sound? Okay. We'll see how it goes. And now, let's go see what's going on in the chicken coop. We've got some projects over there. Here's our new little sidewalk that Berto built. So many projects needed for just managing and directing the water around here. Because every day, an ocean of water falls from the sky. Hola, Fiddle. See, this is currently where Fiddle spends a large part of his days. Hola, Fiddle! Which is why we need the aviary, because he needs more space. So this is just temporary. You're getting a major upgrade soon, Fiddle. Maybe even today. Hola, Pepe.
Hi.
So this is where that baby gecko came from.
Yes.
Look out for more.
Yeah.
Try not to pick them up if they are there.
Well, they're pretty impossible to see. Just happened to see that one.
Hola, Lola. Are you helping?
Always helping.
Protecting us from predators and intruders.
You know, there's a hole in the bottom of the chicken coop floor, which is where the rats were diving into.
Yes.
I want to start to cover that with cement when next time he makes cement, you know.
It's also where the armadillo was trying to come up through.
They could, well, it's a really tiny hole.
Oh.
They could be like nesting in there.
Ugh.
And making houses in there, so we need to like cover that shit up.
Yeah, I saw them diving into the holes while I was chasing them with the hammer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's incredible and disgusting how they can fit their whole bodies through those like dime-sized holes. I need to pause and tell you a true story of farm life. So between the time that we started having chickens and about the time that we started this vlog, we had been unintentionally breeding a huge population of rats in the chicken coop. They were coming in to eat the chicken food and building nests inside of the double walls, and the problem got really, really bad. So bad that as I approached the chicken coop at night to close them up, the whole coop was vibrating and you could hear them just like running around on the walls and eating chicken food and partying, and it was disgusting. And so I just pretty much tried to not see or hear any of that as I closed up the chicken coop each night. And eventually the problem spilled over into our house, and there were so many rats that some of them started living in our house, and it was a nightmare because we couldn't catch it, we couldn't do anything, we couldn't put out traps because it was trapping other animals. It was going to catch lizards. It was going to hurt our pets. We couldn't poison the rats because if the rat died because of poison and our dogs ate the body because they're disgusting and they would do that, then our dogs would get sick. So we were just stuck with this problem, and every night we would hear the rafters of our house vibrating as it ran through the ceiling and feasted on our food all night, and our dogs were freaking out multiple times a day because of the rat. And then we watched a Viking movie, The Northman, which is not our typical genre, but it was a very violent movie, and it really awakened the warrior spirit in me. And I went into the chicken coop, and I actually stood there and looked around long enough for it to dawn on me that I had been complicit in the problem. I had been allowing our chicken coop to become a rat coop. We had been feeding the rats for over a year and breeding this colony. We created this problem by our apathy. And so the next day I went in there and I started pulling off the chicken wire on the inside and destroying their nests, and rats were running everywhere, but I had to just man up and do it. And I was smacking the walls with a hammer, and Galaxia, our dog, for the first time got up out of her bed to become part of something that was happening on the farm, to actually help. And she single-handedly murdered about 25 rats that day and found her calling and purpose in this life. And after that, that was the bulk of the rats, so their colony quickly crumbled apart. And Galaxia's bloodthirst was only just awakened, and she got the king. She got that big fat rat from our kitchen that had been tormenting us. And now, once again, peace has been restored, not only to the chicken coop, but to our home. And what are you talking about over here? You find more eggs?
Hey, Mom.
Cute! Gecko eggs. Got 10 new chickens the other day, and they're all these little kinds called jardineras, little garden chickens. Those are not jardineras, those are actually babies. They look about the same. So we now have 21 total birds in here. That's Quinn. He is the patriarch rooster. And obviously he is huge. While we're in here, I'll show you this cool plant. This is a tropical root vegetable called takiski. A lot of people keep this plant as houseplants in greenhouses around the world. It's a very beloved and cool plant. But here they just grow up out of the ground naturally. They just pop up. I don't even know how it happens, but it probably has something to do with these amazing flowers spreading the seeds. But yeah, they get huge. Very, very, very cool. Here's my hand to show you how massive that leaf is. Got some various types of palm trees in here. This living fence made out of flor de tabo. It's another plant like the Kanya India that we're building the aviary out of, that is used for fencing because you can just stick a post in the ground and it grows into its own plant. And it's a very special plant in Costa Rica because every year, the week of Easter, or really like the whole month around it, they put out these huge, beautiful white flowers that you can eat. People eat them. And it is a major faux pas. It's very disrespectful, and you'll get called out if you have flor de tabo bloom and you don't harvest it and eat it. So we always do. Right, Galaxia? We always eat the floor. And by the way, girls, what are you doing in here? You're not supposed to be in here. Sale. Sale. Thank you, Lola. Hola. please get out. Go. Galaxia, venga. Galaxia, venga. Sale. This is not a doggy-friendly area unless you're needed in here for rat control. Get out, get out. And you're not needed for rat control. There's no rats right now. Bye. And now we are at our local gym, Bakuza's. This is literally a hidden gym. We just started coming here like 2 weeks ago, and it is actually part of an old hotel that is, yeah, I don't know, but now it's a gym. And as you can see, that there's the jungle over there, and this is where we work out. And today is leg day, bitches. About to do some front squats. Front squats are killer. The only thing that really kills me about this gym is like everything in Costa Rica is pretty disorganized. So it can take forever to gather up any specific amount of weight that you need. And this is the only, about to pass out. This is the only rack in here. So if you see it open, you gotta jump on it. And so I don't come in here trying to do a big variety of exercises. What we're doing these days is coming in here to do a few basic exercises, things that we can't do with our body weight at home, and do them really heavy and really thoroughly. Pepe hates front squats. So he's over there on the leg press machine, cranking out his reps. Look at him go. With that jungle view. I think he heard me. One more set of these hellish things. This was Pepe's favorite exercise today. The weighted hip thrust. Look at that pelvic action. Come on, Pepe. Just a few more. Show us what you got. And this is just practice. This is not even his regular hip thrust. You know what I'm saying? Oh! How was that, Pepe?
Horrible.
Horrible, folks. He fucking hates it. The workout is complete without a burnout exercise at the end. So that is what this is. Making sure that we squeeze every last bit out of our legs. Are your legs al dente?
Yeah.
Mine too. Oh, fully cooked. No mas. That's right. You do those burpees and long jumps in your farm boots. No excuses. One more. What do you have to say for yourself? Oh, that's not very positive. This workout is complete, folks. We have nothing left. And Cecilia has probably got dinner ready. So we're gonna go.
Yeah.
So this is a guanabana, an iconic tropical fruit that you may or may not have seen or tasted before. But it has alligator skin, and inside it's kind of like the texture of wet toilet paper and full of seeds, and it kind of has the flavor of pineapple. It's probably the closest thing that I can compare it to, but
It's also called sour sop.
and can you compare it to anything that people might know about?
It's kind of like pear-like.
Oh, it's like a pear.
Like sour pear.
So check out that texture. It's a love it or hate it kind of fruit, but
If you're Latin, you love it.
if you're Latin, you love it. I love it. I'm not Latin,
Yeah.
but
Oh, you're an honorary Latin.
I'm an honorary Latin.
You like some?
Yes.
That one's a piece. A little piece.
This is a good one.
I remember why.
Guanabana can actually be pretty gross. Dad did not like this one. I think it's good. It's it's not super sweet. It's more on the sour side.
It is.
Very tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not the best. It's got the wet toilet paper consistency, but it's kind of more like dry wet toilet paper, and dry and it's on the dry and sour side.
Right. People are rushing to the stores to buy it.
So run out to the nearest supermarket
Get yourself a guanabana.
and get some guanabana. It has powerful cancer-fighting properties, and you will fall in love with its sour, sweet, mushy weirdness.
It's also called graviola.
Graviola.
Many names.
Yum. If you're still here, thank you for watching our first episode. We have so many interesting things that we want to reveal to you and share with you over time, but that was enough for episode 1. And we want to focus on what you want to see, so don't be shy. If you have curiosities and questions, let us know in the comments what you want to see. And if it's not YouTube appropriate, there are other platforms, and the links to all of those are in the description below.
So yeah, if you like what you saw, throw us a thumbs up, comment your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a beat.
Oh, and correction, the gym that we work out at, Bakusa's, it's not just an old abandoned weird hotel. The part that we actually work out in was apparently a music and entertainment venue, so I just wanted to make that correction. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Everything is fine.